you upgraded your Kubernetes cluster, half of your deployment stopped working overnight. No code change, no config change, just a cluster upgrade. The reason? API deprecations. This is part 35 of the Kubernetes series. Kubernetes evolves fast. Old API versions get deprecated and removed eventually. A YAML file that worked perfectly on 1.25 version can fail on 1.26 because the API version it used was removed. If you don't know how to detect and handle deprecations before upgrading, you will have a bad time. Think of API deprecations like a software upgrades on your phone. An app that works on iOS 15 can break in iOS 17 because it used an old API that Apple removed. Kubernetes works the same way. API go through 3 stages. Alpha, experimental, can change at any time. Beta, more stable but still evolving. GA, stable, production ready. When a GA replacement exists, the old API gets deprecated and eventually removed. Kubernetes API deprecation follows a strict policy. When an API is deprecated, it is announced in the release notes. It says that it is available for 1 or 2 minor versions before removal. So if an API is deprecated in 1.25, it won't be removed until at least 1.26. Every Kubernetes resource has an API version field. This is an API group and version. For example, deployment move from extension v beta 1 to apps v1. If you still have extension beta 1 in your YAML files, your cluster no longer supports it, your apply will fail. 3 commands that help you with the deprecation. Kube control API versions. List all the versions that are currently supported by your cluster. If the version your YAML uses is not in the list, it will fail. Kube control explain shows the current API version and fields for any resource. Kube control converts an YAML file from an old API version to a newer one automatically. Now let's run all the commands and demo everything. Kube control API version. List every API version your cluster currently supports. This is your source of truth. If you see apps 1 here but not extension, this filter for apps group and you can see that apps v1 version is available. This is the current stable version for deployments, stateful set, replica sets and daemon sets. Kube control explain deployment. Look at the version field, it's v1, apps v1. This is the current supported version of deployment. Use this before writing any YAML to confirm correct API version. This is VI deprecated deployment YAML file. Can you see this YAML file uses API version as extension v1 beta 1, an old removed API. Now let's apply this and see what happens. Can you see the error? No matches for kind deployment in the version. The API is gone. The YAML needs to be updated. Can you see updated YAML uses apps v1 and also see the selector field. Also notice selector is now a required field. Change between old API and new API. Can you see the YAML file applies successfully? This is how you handle a deprecation. That's all for today. Thanks. Follow for more.